Today I'll be trying to get 3 wins with the Nautilus 79, the more Slayer-oriented kit of the Nautilus family. For your sub-weapon, you have a suction bomb, which is pretty nice to help for longer-ranged targets and more for defense as well. When you can't quite reach someone that's shooting at you, maybe like a Hydra, the other Splatling that kind of outranges you. I guess heavies also work as well, but you may be able to actually outmaneuver them. For your special, you have a triple splashdown. Now for me, I don't mind this special that much. I would prefer to have others. However, I do find this one quite useful if you're getting rushed either from multiple angles, if you're in a tag team fight against the enemy team. And it's just something that's nice to either clear the field or back them away to make sure that you're not just getting immediately rushed by someone that has a better chance at defeating you at closer range. I believe triple splashdown was also buffed to put out more paint. I haven't really felt that too much other than the fact that it, paints around you, which is pretty nice for the weapon itself. And while the weapon itself isn't the best painter in the world, it's not the worst either. It actually can put out some pretty decent paint as long as you're uncontested. The main weapon itself, as per usual, has the gimmick of being able to hold a charge while swimming, as well as the ability to recharge while you have a partial going, which is pretty nice. The run speed on the weapon itself is not great, can be useful in some scenarios when you're not able to swim away, either because you don't have space around you or you're trying to back away and still keep pressure on your opponents. Shot velocity is very fast, it's very nice, it feels a lot snappier than some other weapons that have slower shot velocity. And you have some pretty decent DPS as well. While it's still a 4-shot, it is a Splatling, so you're going to have a very large fire rate, which is good. It's really nice feeling, especially if you can laser someone down with good aim, which I don't particularly have. Either way, the goal is 3 wins, and if we get 3 in a row without any losses, we'll go for a 4th one. We'll see you in the first match. All right, match number 1. There were 2 people on the opposing team with like 10 anarchy wins, so I'm going to chalk this up to me not being an S+ for very long, and the game just kind of not knowing where to put me. So we'll see how it goes. I am very rusty, and I really do not expect to win this, but we'll see. We'll do our best. He jumps out, which is good. I'm going to try to play mid-range here. Unfortunately, our team's just kind of a bit odd. We don't have any long-range players, and the Slayers that we have too many Slayers. I'll say that. No real support. I guess I can play support, but yeah, our range presence isn't really there. Our paint presence isn't really there either. So we'll see what happens. But I don't really have much faith, especially if I just hold forward and die to a random stamp being thrown. Yeah, nothing happened there. I don't like it when the game does that, but the game's in control, not me. All right, match number 2, bit more balanced, still beaten out by range, but Expulsure isn't the worst thing in the world to be outranged by. It may not be fun, but at the very least, there's not many choke points on this map. There are some still, but there are ways to counteract that at the very least. I think I see someone up here. Very good. I'm glad he ran straight into my line of sight because he very easily could have just killed me if he went off to the side, which would not have been great. Oh, no. Back away. It is good to note that even though you are better at swimming, your run speed is still somewhat useful. I don't even have any mains of run speed or anything, but you can use that to your advantage in some ways. And that guy was rushing me, so I decided to just use Splashdown. It did help out. And again, it helps, especially if your aim is rusty and you don't know how to play the game very well and someone just rushes you. At the very least, it may buy you more time. If they kill you, then they're probably close enough to get a trade. Unless they're just using an anchor weapon or something, and then, I mean, at the very least, it got used, right? Sometimes you can just die before using it, because it is close range, and maybe not the best thing this weapon could get, but you do have a bomb to deal with things at range, so it's not the complete end of the world. I'm going to try to cover up his space. I think he's going to maybe rush me. Thank you. Just try to take advantage of that. Since all of the other weapons I do outrange, it's going to be really nice to maybe just actually attack there. I'm going to go ahead and throw these out, maybe get something off. Didn't really work, but we did maybe gain some space there at the very least. Got him. I'm going to back up, maybe keep an eye on the map. I do want to maybe play a bit more stealthily here. Since I am the longest range weapon, or not really longest, but the longest range Slayer, I guess I could say. I do maybe want to try to take advantage of that. Here I maybe want to crossfire with my teammates and catch them off guard. I'm not really close enough. I don't like jumping on ledges for that. Your RNG does not change well in the air, but your RNG isn't particularly great at base. It's not the worst thing in the world. Could be better though. I'm gonna actually move in here. All right, good job. Thank you, teammate. Looks like we're gonna win. Maybe. Hold on. Let him get close. I'm surprised that didn't kill. I will say this, the splashdown does not reach up as high as it does in Splatoon 2, so since I haven't used the special very much, I'm not quite used to the new ledge weakness, I guess, of it. It is a thing, and definitely if you go from Splatoon 2 to 3, you'll feel it a lot more. I don't like being here. I don't have any space to move, so I'm just going to drop and leave. Maybe try to set up in a more spacey spot. All right, good. Didn't hear many actual hits there, but sometimes it takes a bit of time for the actual regular hit sound to play rather than the armor sound. We have a very commanding lead here. I don't quite trust myself though, so we'll see. Definitely probably don't want to jump in here because we don't have a lot of space. We only have one guy forward, so very easily could be taken over. I don't want to just kind of leave myself up to the mercy of someone randomly not finding my jump marker, even though I do have stealth jump and maybe not the best durability to have on this. I think it's fine though. Again, it's okay for getting in when you need to. You can't always trust people to actually be in good jump spots to not have to use it. So it's better than nothing. And something else I will say about this weapon is you definitely want to get used to using partial charges and stuff. Since it is one of the recharging Splatlings, you're going to be dealing with those a lot more. And sometimes if you're not used to it, you're going to find yourself just running flat out of any charge that you have. I'm gonna go ahead and use this for some paint, maybe. It's not the best painting thing in the world, but it is nice in a pinch, especially for a weapon that it isn't the best at painting itself, especially close up. While it's okay at range and just in long lines, if you're trying to get a bunch of paint near you, it's not really gonna work out too well, especially if people are rushing you because you still have to charge to paint. I think there is actually someone up there. Either that or is, then just would. I may have been the sploosh. All right. A lot of stuff going on here. I do want to actually lurch up here and maybe pick someone off at range. However, there's actually no one I can get. I'm not sure what I quite want to do here. That's going after him. I'm going to try to just disengage here because I'm not quite prepared. Unfortunately, it didn't work out very well, though. Another thing is if you're holding your ZR button a lot, it's going to be a lot harder to make changes and stuff. At the very least for me, it is, like with your aim. So if you're trying to do like a 180 or something, it's going to feel a lot harder if you are holding the button down. But I mean, I guess if you're playing a shooter a lot, especially shorter range one, you may just get used to that. I'm being rushed here though. You can see I'm not very good at fighting up close today, unfortunately. All right, maybe we can finish this off here. Try to get a crossfire going. Again, I'm not hitting very much. Jump off the map at the end there. That's okay. When I was ranking up with this back to S+, it felt pretty good. However, different ranks are going to act differently, so sometimes it may just feel off. And even the RNG could be acting up. It just depends. But with my aim being the way it is, I can't really expect too much. All right, match number 3. More short-range weapons, which is good. There is a pencil on the enemy team, which was nerfed recently, I believe. So that is going to be interesting. Its kill power is still the same, which isn't the strongest, but you still want to be careful around it, especially at range if you can't reach it yourself. I'm going to probably just work on paint right now. I may actually look for an opening to maybe slide forward. I see the brush over here. I'm going to try to maybe get some shots off on him. And this is actually a pretty decent chip damage weapon as well for your teammates. I'm not sure what he expected really there. I'm going to go ahead and pop this and try to stay back. Actually, maybe could have thrown that behind the wall there and got the roller. I want to cover this side as well. Make sure the roller doesn't rush me. Again, I'm really wary about people rushing me because I'm not really in the mindset to actually handle that right now. So making sure roots are covered up and giving myself time to charge is going to be very important. I'm going to back up here, get a full charge going. If they rush me, that's fine. I can actually take advantage of that. However, did get killed by the wave breaker? Yes. We got a pretty large amount of paint on the map. We're losing some of it, but once we get jumped back in, I think we'll be fine. Their team isn't the best at painting. I mean, they have a junior, they have a pencil, they have a brush, which is okay at short ranges at painting. So as long as it's, you know, being uncontested, they should be fine with the brush, but the other two weapons are probably going to be doing a lot more of the heavy lifting. I'm gonna wait for this to wear off and then maybe try to sneak at some point. That's how I really like to get a lot of my kills with the weapon, is just being in a weird, awkward spot and catching someone off guard. Because again, you can get kills pretty quickly so long as they're not moving around. If they're moving around, you're gonna have a lot more trouble. Again, especially if I can't state it enough, if your aim is not on point. If your aim's on point, then you probably won't have that much issue actually just lasering people down. Try to use some squid strafing here. Maybe get someone at the very least. All right, got the junior. He's gonna aim at me. I'm safe behind this cover here, so I'm gonna try to just give myself some space to move around and maybe give myself an escape option. He may be running for clams. I'd actually like to do this. Okay, never mind. And since the weapon is a 4-shot, you still also do have to be careful about just missing way too much as well, especially in firefights where the weapons have a less kill time than you. If you are missing a couple of shots, which you really don't want to be missing with that. Try to keep my distance here since I do have that range advantage. He's not really using his torpedo either. Unfortunately, just get double teamed there. Probably should be on the right with my teammates. However, I do want to try to make a flank happen at some point. Yes, we have lead, but that's only one clam from them actually taking lead if they get a power clam in. So I'm going to try to just play carefully. They are throwing a lot of bombs. I might actually start doing that myself. I was originally running a bunch of subsaver on the headgear. However, it just didn't really feel that great. I wasn't using bombs that much anyways. And while they do help out, since you maybe are keeping a charge for a long portion of time, you might not actually end up using your bombs too much. That was my bad. I did not get a long enough charge to actually put up pressure there to make him having to keep dodging, or make him have to keep dodging, if I can speak. Someone over here with the curling. All right, good. I don't have a lot of health though. Hopefully keep him back. He got scared enough, which is good. Teammate takes the kill. I may actually try to just be aggressive with teammates, honestly. Give them some paint to move forward. Try to play a little bit more support. All right, stay alive here. I'm going to pop this. Hopefully that doesn't kill me. I get an assist, which is good. Not sure what from. Really want to stay away from this guy. However, they just do have a lot of people rushing us, unfortunately. Didn't get any other clams in though. We've got 40 seconds left. These matches feel like they're going very quickly, which is good at the very least. We can get an early lead and not have to worry too much about playing a very long drawn out game and not doing anything. Then that's fine with me, honestly. I feel like I have been kind of just playing this match very incorrectly though. So I might want to hang back here, let them come to me. I don't want to give them too much space, obviously. So I will stand back and do that. I don't know. Maybe I should be moving around a little bit more and actually trying to take kills. I'm playing very passively for what I could be, but maybe let my teammates take aggro for right now. Again, the really big problem here is just the pencil, which without his friends, he's not really going to be doing much. And you also have the other Splatling woes of not actually being able to pierce through your teammates. So you will just have a lot of your shots ate up if you're not careful. All right. I'll take that, I guess. He did have a cooler on him, so he won't be dead for very long. However, they are being held back pretty substantially, so they won't get that in. Another rough match, but it's a win. All right, match number 4 or 5, I don't remember. I think match number 4, though. So another pencil, not the very strong one, though, just kind of the middle of the road one. And that's good. They do have more midline options, though. Splatter shots, kind of mid-range, not really. More short to mid-range, kind of in between there. And then their Julie Sculptures are definitely mid-range, like standard mid-range. Maybe not as long as some other mid-range options. However, I just aimed off to the side there. I don't know why I aimed off to the left. He was not going that far, but I guess I just got pretty nervous and pretty horribly failed that, unfortunately. I don't think I'm sitting here way too often. I think unless they play into it, if they keep going over there, then I might just actually try to take advantage of it. However, I think I do want to be more mobile. Quick respawn may actually not be a bad idea to actually use here, just because that does give me more of an incentive to actually be more aggressive and use my speed while swimming and holding a charge. Maybe make it feel more like a roller or something that's going for quick kills. I don't want to repeat this. However, I cannot see him very well, and I had to recharge on greats. Let me see if I can't actually get into the swing of things or if I'm going to get carried in this match. There we go. That felt good at the very least. So now that they have Tomb, we have Core, we really need to start pushing. They're going to keep pushing. Unfortunately, just died to a whole bunch of chip damage there. Thought I took damage from the initial splat bomb, but I guess I did not. That was just from Whale. Whale does a lot of damage if you're not careful around it. It is kind of jarring to go from not playing and then just kind of forget how much damage it actually does, because before it didn't really do that much damage, and now it is actually a fairly lethal thing if you're stuck in one place for too long. I don't like being over here. I know that Brush is doing something sneaky, so I do want to keep him in mind. He keeps just tap firing at me, so he's not going to hit me very much. I may actually try to leverage Splashdown here, especially with their shorter range teammates that are just trying to rush. I don't like being on a long straightaway though, because they do have that pencil and I don't want to fight that. All right, get back on land. And you do want to stay away from ledges because you don't have a fast strafing speed. I keep going on them, but you don't follow my advice. Really don't. I did just realize this is a triple splat bomb team, so yeah, that's fun. That's probably why we're having such a hard time, since it's a very defensive team. I really want to get rid of the splatter shot though. I don't want to play into his little sharking game though, so I'll just be careful. I really want to leverage my range, again, especially against the shorter range enemies. I cannot aim for the life of me. That's so terrible. Again, you have just standard RNG when you're jumping, so it is a thing to use. You don't want to abuse it too much because, again, you're not moving too fast. But it's something you can use, and it's not really going to hinder your aim too much if you're doing it that way. All right, well, someone broke their barrier. Not sure how that happened. Did not help at all. I got one kill, I think, so far in this match. Died to the sniper rider quite a few times. No, I got a couple more kills. But certainly didn't perform very well at all here. So I may go for a fourth game because I think we're going to win this unless we just randomly lose to a random last second push. I'm not doing too terribly here at the very least. And we break their barrier again. Yeah, I'm going to go for another game, but there is technically our third win, but I'm not quite satisfied with that. All right, match number 5. I'm going to actually try to be maybe a little bit more quiet here and see if I can actually play somewhat decently. All right, we've got 6 seconds left in the match. It'll be a bit of overtime. I know it didn't look like the most, or I guess there won't be any overtime because they didn't get a clam. Probably didn't look like the most overwhelming match in the world, but I felt like I played my part pretty well. We only got 1 clam in. We had a chance to get in more during that push. I probably should have tried a little bit harder to get more in. That way we had a larger safety net. However, worked out pretty well, and I felt a little bit more satisfied with that than the other matches. And there's 4 wins with the Nautilus 79. Not great, not terrible. I had 2 games where I got 17 splats and assists, which is pretty high for some of the weapons I normally use. And when I was ranking up with it, again, different ranks, so obviously it's going to be a bit skewed in the lower ranks favor, but was getting lots of kills. I was getting 20, sometimes 18. It felt really good, especially when I guess I was more aware or better at the game. I don't know. But it felt nice to really get some trick shots off, especially over a ledge or something. Since that shot velocity and the shot fire rate is really nice, you may just find yourself shooting in a random direction over a ledge and actually getting a kill from it, even with fall off. Either way, hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider leaving a comment below and maybe even consider subscribing. Until next time.